Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get 2 volunteers from chat to duke it out. So we need volunteers for the NA server. We need some fresh meat. All right, we're gonna go with the coolest names. So that's probably Cavehammer and Batpug. I would have said Deathstar, but I already am friends with the Deathstar. So I'm gonna go with the coolest names. That's Cavehammer and Batpug. Yeah, that looks like it's not, Batpug's not actually, all right, we'll go with Deathstar and Cavehammer. They were the first 2 people. All right. Cavehammer versus Deathstar. Survivor of the Friends List, Bud or Blood, Tournament Edition. 2 enter, only 1 survives. And then after we have a winner, we get a new challenger, right? That's how we do it. So we don't have to have a full bracket. It's just kind of like you get to be on as long as you're winning. And so ultimately, it's not about who wins the game. It's about who chat votes for. That's the thing. It's not about winning the game. It's about who chat votes for. So you have to balance trying to make good plays with trying to make fun plays. It's ultimately more about entertaining chat than winning the game, potentially. And then there's also the question of, do you BM and how, right? Some people don't like it when you BM, but other people do like it, and maybe you can do a really good BM that people really do like. Interesting. Yeah, I should spectate both, you're right. So let's try and pull up Deathstar's perspective as well. If you're not playing box, you're doing it wrong. Okay, but you have to think about the metagame of Survivor of the Friends List, right? What if everyone's playing box and then somebody else shows up with something different? If everyone's playing box, it gets boring. So you have to read the metagame of Survivor of the Friends List if you want to live. Technically, we can see the cards in his hand, but good luck interpreting this nonsense. It's all upside down and trash. Whatever. Envoy. Oh, that's a pretty good card in this format, where I'm streaming both hands. Oh, he guessed wrong. So now what we've learned is that 1, Deathstar did not have the intelligence to guess correctly, but 2, he does have the integrity to not cheat. So what's more important? Intentionally guessed wrong for hand space? Could be, could be. 9 cards in hand, so he could have guessed correctly and he still would have had hand space. He could have had an extra card here. That's a Bud. Well, don't make up your mind. Keep an open mind. There's more game to be played yet. Only 1 of these people gets to remain our Bud. The other person, there's going to be blood. So keep an open mind. Don't judge too soon. Blood Deathstar for playing Priest. Ew. I hate that attitude of disliking people for what they're playing. Like, come on, man. People can play what they like. Like, who are you to tell other people how they should want to play the game? I want to blood you. So next turn, he's got 8 mana and Innervate, so he could play the 9-drop. No, he goes for the shiny. Interesting. Maybe he's thinking the Innervate's better with the Mount Seller. He's thinking the Evasive Worm lines up well against that Shield of Galakron. Skill or kill? Okay. There's good about that, right? The rhyming, and that it works in terms of, like, we're keeping one and getting rid of the other. So those are good things. But what I like about Bud or Blood is Bud ties in with the friends list thing, like friend Bud. Neo Jehudi, thank you for that prime. Skill is not the primary consideration in staying. Yeah, it's not necessarily it may be the primary consideration in staying, but it's not necessarily the primary consideration. Yeah. Ultimately, I don't want to tell the viewers how they should decide who gets to stay. I like that it's kind of open-ended. So where does this Ironbark go? That's an interesting question. Ooh, tough call. He puts it on the Mount Seller, and I gotta say, against the class with Shadow or Death, I don't agree with that decision. They're already gonna want to Shadow or Death the Mount Seller. Now they just get even more rewarded for doing so. Priest already used the Death? Yeah, but they run 2 a lot of times, right? How do I decide who's next? That's a good question. And as somebody who is currently at work and trying to earn money, I'm thinking, I should monetize this. Who's next? I don't know, probably whoever donated most recently. Honestly, I don't have a system set up yet, and it's just kind of the way I picked these people was just first people to do the right thing in chat, right? The first people to... Gladiator matches. The faceless, unwashed masses just scream based on personal preference. Why'd you put the Kappa there, Cragmork? It's so much funnier without the Kappa. Like, when the Kappa, it's like, it's like insecurity, like you're not confident in what you're saying, like you have to cover your bases. But if you don't put the Kappa there, it's like that's just a good, funny thing to say. The buff had gone on the poisonous, he could have dodged that. Is that true? It still would have got Shadow Madness at 3 attack. It's not true. You're saying the Cobra would have survived after Shadow Madness trading into the Mount Seller because it would have had 6 health and the Mount Seller only had 5 attack? Oh, maybe that's what you're saying. Okay. Okay. But I think the Iron Bark doesn't go on the Cobra and it doesn't go on the Mount Seller. And Shadow Madness is a reason why for both of those. It goes on to something else. 10 mana. Ooh, yeah, that does look like a really big minion. I love it. Huge play. By the old gods. Yeah, draw last. Sure. Sure. You know what? I'm okay with drawing last. It's not like he drew something better than Zixor Prime. It's not like there was an 8 mana play in his deck that was better than that, right? It's fine. It's fine. A little sketchy, though. It's kind of a bad habit to do it in the wrong order. Draw last for BM. Okay. Is it bad habit or good BM? That's for you to decide, Twitch chat. Okay. I had to step away for a second there. Did I miss anything important, chat? We're good, right? Who here's old enough to remember Force Nature Savage Roar? Oh, me. I was there for that. I remember. 14 damage. 9 mana. And then there was Force Roar, Vate Roar. That was 22 damage, right? Yeah, it was 22. His Vate made 2 mana. Okay, he starts by drawing, then he draws again. This looks like a well-ordered turn. The board state doesn't give him any huge specific priorities. He probably wants to clear that enemy 4-2. He'd like to clear the 4-11, but it may not... Ooh, Mind Flayer on the 4-11. That's powerful, yeah. That's strong. And what else? 4 mana left. 4 mana, he could go like Apotheosis, Value Trade, and heal with Renew. Does he spot it? Maybe he's thinking he wants the Crystal Power on the 4-2. Well, he penances and saves the Crystal Power. He values the cheaper thing over the bigger removal thing. Okay. Floats 2 mana. He did not play... This Coulter and Chaplain could have been in play. I don't know. What do you guys think about... Oh, interesting. You gotta think this Chaplain should have been in play. That's a slight mistake. The rope was burning. Nobody's perfect, I understand. But it looked a little bloody to me. Druid's turn. What's important? Tempo? Value? Life totals? Biggest minion? Other biggest minion? Yeah, that's all 10 mana on big stuff. And then, where does the 4 go? He's a trader. So that normally I like going face, but here's what's good about that trade. Now on board, the 4-8 is sticking to the board. And if he can stick more stuff to the board, then buff cards like Savage Roar become much more impactful. You know what a big difference between spectating both perspectives is like this compared to playing is you're trying to figure out the best play from both sides. It's kind of like twice as much work as playing a game. I mean, it's not twice as much, but it's interesting. It sort of forces you to think more on both players' turns. Whereas when you're playing a game of Hearthstone, you can sometimes relax on the opponent's turn. It's a bad habit, but like understandable. This Renew looks really strong. Border lol. Ooh. Plague of Death. That's such a strong card against Druid. Because Druid plays cards like Ysera, just makes massive boards. Or Plague of Death is insane. Yeah, the draw 3, it's not just drawing spells, it's also making dragons. Full hand here for our Druid player. He'd probably like to get some cards out of hand to free up space for another Fungal Fortunes. But no. Just hero powers. That's interesting. He could have Crystal Powered to heal up the Ysera, get a card out of hand that way. But he chose to push the 1. A very Gallon-esque play, if I do say so myself. So the first question on Deathstar's mind is this worth a Plague of Deathing? Or should I do something else? So if he doesn't want a Plague of Death, he could trade here, and there's 12 attack on board. Meaning he's dying to 9. And he could also Rustied Raider hero power, so now he's dying to 19. So it sounds like he doesn't need to Plague of Death yet, but he could. He still could. God, this card's kind of sad. So chat, who knows why Rustied Raider is included in Priest? What's the cool synergy that makes it worth? It's a pretty weak card on its own, right? But there's a specific interaction in the Priest deck. Rustied Raider plus what card? Put Apotheosis on it, gain 7 life while killing something, leave a big thick boy behind. It's a huge swing. It's really important for Priest to beat decks like Demon Hunter and Warrior, that they have big life swings like that. Because Demon Hunter and Warrior Demon Hunter and Warrior are like 2 of the strongest decks right now, and both of them rely heavily on burn damage game plans. So being able to consistently heal for large amounts with Apotheosis is a great way to counter a burn deck heavy metagame. Healing naturally counters burn. It doesn't counter burst. Burst counters healing. Healing counters burn. And burn beats burst. There's a bit of a rock, paper, scissors there. It's a naturally balancing cycle there of burn, burst, and healing. But there aren't really any burst decks right now. They all kind of wound up being burn decks with some burst potential. So, looks like he's going to have to Plague of Death. The alternative is just death. Okay, so full clear. Cavehammer should have been planning, like, okay, when I get full cleared, what's my huge reload play? The answer is, I don't know, top deck some dragons, forehead. Glowfly Swarm, sure. Ironbark at 2/2, play around something like Breath of the Infinite. Draw last. No, he's not going to draw. He's not going to draw. Oh my god, he draws. What if you burn dragons? You have a full board. Oh, that was a sloppy play, Cavehammer. That was a sloppy play. Playing the Overgrowth to have the excess mana available, sure. But using the excess mana with a full board and Dream Portals in deck, that's a big mistake. So we've seen significant mistakes on both sides this game already. Cavehammer risked overdrawing Dream Portals there. And earlier, Deathstar roped out playing a minion. Here it is, the big finish. Oh, and this is also a punish. Because he drew that card last turn, if he hadn't drawn that extra card last turn, he wouldn't have burned these dragons. But it didn't end up mattering. He still has lethal. Okay, chat. One of these players gets to remain our bud. Who do we like better? Cavehammer or Deathstar? Who's the bud? Cavehammer or Deathstar? Who is our bud? I'm seeing more Deathstar bud than Cavehammer bud. Is that your final answer, Twitch chat? Having skimmed Twitch chat and approximated, I've determined Deathstar won the popular vote, probably. Although I do like this Save the Cave copy pasta, but the problem is it's one person. I don't like one-man spam. I like when multiple people copy pasta the same message, that's cool. But I hate it when one person says the same thing repeatedly. So that kind of just kills the Save the Cave spam. But it was a good thought. It was a good thought, but it was a little too late. I think Deathstar wins this round. Deathstar remains our bud. Cave, I'm sorry. For you, it is blood. Okay.